Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Now I am a saver through and through. That is just what comes naturally to me. I actually find it kind of difficult to spend sometimes, whereas saving, that's easy for me. And over the years, I've come to believe that some people are hardwired to enjoy saving and some people enjoy spending. And there's nothing wrong with either. It's just different. Now, when I was little, I was actually kind of obsessed with money. I actually first was introduced into money with my grandma. My grandma was a casual coin collector, and following suit with her, I casually collected coins, just the rare ones, like silver dollars, drummer boy quarters, the wheat pennies, and $2 bills. And yes, I still have all of them. And I love them because when I see them, it makes me think of my time with my grandma. And my grandparents were really the epitome of making the right financial moves. My grandma especially, she was born just prior to the Great Depression, and it left a profound impression on her. She was hardwired to be frugal and save. My grandpa bought their first and only house upon returning home from World War II. He bought it for $1,000 and it was a duplex. They rented out the other half. They were house hacking even before house hacking was a term. And early on in their marriage, my grandma started investing in the stock market. That was in the 1940s. By the time I came along in the late 80s, she had already been investing for 50 years. And talking about investing, well, that was just something that came naturally to her. So she really is the one who got me interested in the stock market and got me interested in investing. By the time I was 7 or 8, I was buying my first stocks. And to me, investing in money, well, it was all just fun and games. Then when I was 11 years old, my mom, a single mom, lost her job. She had 2 kids, a mortgage, and no income. Suddenly, money wasn't just all fun and games. Instead, I saw that it is what allowed you to live your life. Now, my mom was a saver, so we were okay. We weren't great, but we were okay. She would have me sit with her while she balanced her checkbook every single month, and I got to see what our life costs. Learning about how to manage money, I secretly loved it because I still loved finances and I loved money. I found it interesting. But I also saw that checkbook run out of money. And when that would happen, we would go to the bank. She would open a safety deposit box where she kept some bonds. She would cash them so she could pay our bills. I also saw those bonds run out. My mom and my grandma were definitely the biggest influence in my life, probably for most things, but absolutely for money as well. I grew up loving to save and invest, but after watching what my mom went through, it wasn't simply loving to save. Now I needed to save. Money, I saw it as a way of being independent and in control of your life. If you didn't have money, you didn't have security. You were at the mercy of a job who could one day decide to lay you off when they no longer wanted you. And if you didn't have savings to fall back on, you were basically screwed. So I saved everything I ever made. When I was 12, I got my first job and I saved all of it. I saved everything I ever made from every job that I worked from the time I was in middle school and high school. I set the goal to have $25,000 by the time I graduated, and I almost hit it, but I got sick at 17 and I had to quit my jobs and I wasn't able to work for an entire year. But in the meantime, I did apply for every scholarship I could get my hands on, made sure to pick an in-state school, and at the end of the day, the only expense I was left with for college was my books. When I went to college, I got 2 jobs and I saved both of them. Then when I graduated college, I moved right back home and back in with my mom. Yes, I was one of those kiddos that boomeranged back home, but honestly, I loved it. My mom is literally my best friend, and those years together, I cherish them more than anything. I would live with her today if I could. We still talk on the phone and FaceTime several times a day. I miss my mom a lot, so I'm so thankful I got more time to spend with her. My mom let me live with her 100% rent-free. In exchange, I was to clean the house, take care of the lawn, and prepare all of our meals, which I happily did. That was 100% worth it to me. Her one caveat was that she said if she ever saw me spending or living a lavish lifestyle, living above my means, she would ask me to leave and rent a place somewhere else. That's not something you have to worry about a saver doing. My mom has always been aware of my saving goals, and she has been my biggest cheerleader. Right out of college, I got a job that paid roughly $45,000 a year, and yes, I saved all of that. I even got some side gigs and I was working on weekends and in the evenings, and I saved those as well. At any given time, I was saving 98 to 99% of my income, which is not too hard to do when you don't have much in the way of living expenses. Then I met my husband, and for the first time, I had to pay rent. I had to move out of my mom's house and into the real world. And you know what? Paying rent sucks. Being an adult, it's highly overrated. We paid rent, I think, for 2 months. And then I found out that our apartment complex was looking for a cleaning lady. And I was like, look no further, I am your girl. So I convinced them, they gave me the job, and they took the money off of our rent every single month. A month or so after that, I found out they were looking for someone to walk around the complex and pick up dog poop. Again, I was like, look no further, I am your girl. And so they hired me to do that as well. Ultimately, we got our rent down to $200 to $300 a month living in Portland, Oregon, which was pretty incredible. And so we were able to save at least 80, if not 85% of our incomes. Recently, we bought a condo, and so now we have a mortgage. So gone are those days of $200 to $300 a month for rent. We have a full-on adult mortgage. But I was able to negotiate with the builder a reduced price on our condo because I allow him to use it as the model unit for walkthroughs or open houses on weekends. So he's enabled to sell more units. We do live in a new construction development. There aren't that many built yet, so using ours enables him to sell more, and it allowed us to get it at a slightly discounted price. So it was a mutually beneficial relationship. I am always looking for a way to save. Now, currently we save roughly 55% of our incomes, maybe 60. I still love saving, but I look at it differently now. I am so thankful that I spent so much of my early years savings, but I will be the first to admit that I made some mistakes along the way. Chief among them was saving too much money. Yes, I love to save, but a lot of the times I was saving out of fear. My outlook on money and finances developed when I was very young. Watching my mom lose her job and struggle to pay the bills, that left a massive impression on me. I didn't trust any employer. I knew that for any reason you could be let go and poof, your paycheck would be gone. Also, following that up with getting sick at 17 and not being able to work for an entire year, I knew if I got sick once, what's to stop me from getting sick again? So I knew that my paycheck could always be at jeopardy because if you're not able to go to work, you wouldn't get a paycheck. So I saved out of fear. I saved everything I ever could just in case that paycheck disappeared. I wanted to make sure that I had savings to fall back on. And I don't regret saving because no one ever gets to retirement and goes, oh darn, I saved too much. But I do regret missing out on some things in life. For instance, I never once lived alone. I didn't want to take on my own rent. That would have reduced my savings rate too much. And now I've kind of missed the boat on that. Now that I'm married, I will be living with my spouse and he's wonderful, but I missed the opportunity to live alone. And I think that would have been a really cool experience. And I also missed out on other things. There's a lot of things I didn't do because of cost. I would have taken more trips. I would have explored the world more. I would have participated in more activities if I wasn't so fearful of spending. Or when one of my friends wanted me to join a Pilates gym with her, it was $200 a month and I didn't want to take on that kind of expense. I figured that there are other ways that I can work out and cheaper gyms. But maybe it wasn't just about the money. Maybe it was about the experience. Maybe I would have loved Pilates. I don't know. I never tried it. Or maybe I would have taken part in a few more of those weekend trips that my friends have, going to the lake, enjoying bonfires, relaxing, sailing. Instead, the vast majority of the time, I was doing side work, I was working second jobs, and I was still hustling. I was trying to get ahead. But I missed out on some of that quality time with my friends, and I missed that. And I'm well known for going shopping, looking at every single thing in the store, and then be like, nah, I'm good. I don't really want to spend anything. Money isn't the end goal. It doesn't matter how much you save if you don't enjoy your life along the way. It took me too long to realize that. Nowadays, I deliberately work less. Most weeks I do work 5 days a week, which is pretty normal, rather than 7, including nights and every single weekend, every single holiday. Some weeks I do work 6 days a week, but I am making sure that I consciously have at least one day off per week, ideally having the entire weekend. And my husband and I put a greater emphasis on travel. We take a lot of day trips, weekend getaways, and we vacation in a lot of different spots. And I can tell you that that is truly fulfilling. Having a pandemic kind of put a kibosh on that whole travel thing, but we are getting back into it as more and more places open up. I still don't buy a ton of things because I don't see the point. I don't really want a life that is full of stuff, but I do want a life that is full of memories and experiences, and that is what I'm putting an emphasis on. For instance, a couple weeks ago, we just joined a rock climbing gym. This is actually something that's so much fun to do. My husband has experience with rock climbing. I didn't have any prior experience, but it's a little bit over $100 a month, and I can tell you it's so worth it. When we go, we have so much fun. We're meeting amazing people, and I can honestly say that 20-year-old me never would have committed to that kind of price for a gym. I am deliberately trying to save less, but I am the type of person who has to remind myself that spending is okay. Not everything has to be saved and invested. I can tell you that my life is far more enjoyable now that I'm not trying to save 99% of my income. I know I see those headlines in the FIRE community where people are boasting about saving 80 or 90% of their income, but I can tell you I have zero interest in doing that anymore. We still save aggressively, but I'm far more focused now on packing as many wonderful experiences into my life as I possibly can, rather than saving as many dollars as I can. I still save a lot. Between my husband and I, we save at least 55% of our incomes. Once a saver, always a saver. But we are more focused on enjoying our lives, and I think that is more important. I still also have that fear that paychecks can stop at any given point, but that's why I have multiple streams of income. I know I'm prepared if that were to ever happen. So what type are you? Are you a natural born saver or a natural born spender? Or maybe you fall in that sweet spot in the middle. Either extreme really isn't the greatest option. Let me know in the comments down below. I do read and reply to all of them. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. That's gonna wrap up this video. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. It's a little more personal than I usually do in these videos. Also, if you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of anyone who can get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I greatly appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.